it will.
In today's programme, Mr. Lovejoy is making a cupboard.
A cupboard?
A cupboard is a piece of furniture.
A cupboard is usually about 1.70 meters high.
A cupboard is usually about 1 metre wide.
A cupboard usually has 1 or 2 doors.
You put things in a cupboard.
You keep things in it.
You store things in it.
Yes, a cupboard is used for storage.
Store, storage.
To store means to keep. And cupboards are used for storage. You can keep things in a cupboard. So Mr. Lovejoy is making a cupboard.
What's that diagram, Mr. Lovejoy?
Oh, it's going to be a cupboard, Coco. I haven't finished it yet.
Oh.
This is the back. This is the front.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the sides. Do you like it? I designed it myself.
Yes. It's great, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, thanks, Coco.
So the diagram isn't finished yet.
Start, finish.
Mr. Lovejoy has started the diagram,
He's started drawing it.
but he hasn't finished it.
He hasn't finished drawing it.
Start drawing.
Finish drawing.
He hasn't finished drawing it yet.
Now, Mr. Lovejoy designed the cupboard.
He designed it.
He designed it himself.
To design something.
People design cars.
People design houses.
People design shoes.
People design furniture.
And Mr. Lovejoy designed the cupboard he is making.
The cupboard has a back.
It has a front,
And it has 2 sides.
a back,
A front.
and 2 sides.
The doors are in the front.
The back goes against the wall,
Back, front.
and 2 sides.
It also has a top and a bottom, presumably.
A top, a bottom.
Yes. Mr. Lovejoy designed the cupboard himself. When you're designing something, you must think of the shape, and you must think of the size.
Shape, size.
What shape is the cupboard going to be?
Is it going to be square?
Is it going to be round?
Is it going to be oblong?
Square,
Round.
oblong.
What shape is it going to be? And what size is the cupboard going to be?
Is it going to be big,
Is it going to be medium?
or is it going to be small?
What size is it going to be? Yes, when you're designing a cupboard, you must think of the shape and you must think of the size. Now, Mr. Lovejoy's finished his diagram, his plans. So, what kind of cupboard is he making?
Do you like the shape of my new cupboard, Coco?
Yes. Well, it looks like a cupboard to me, Mr. Lovejoy.
Exactly. It's a traditional cupboard. Do you like the size?
Yes. It's very big.
Exactly. It's a traditional cupboard with plenty of storage space.
Oh.
Do you want to help?
Yes, okay.
Good lad. Can you cut this piece of wood in half?
Okay.
Measure it, find the middle, then draw a straight line across the middle and cut along the line.
Right, Mr. Lovejoy. Where's the saw?
It's over there.
So, Mr. Lovejoy is making a traditional cupboard with plenty of storage space.
Storage space.
Space to store things. Space to keep things.
Storage space.
Mr. Lovejoy's cupboard has plenty of storage space. And Coco is helping Mr. Lovejoy. He's cutting a piece of wood in half, like this.
To cut something in half.
Coco isn't cutting the piece of wood into 3 pieces.
He isn't cutting it into 4 pieces.
He isn't cutting it into 5 pieces.
No, he's cutting it in half.
To cut something into 3 pieces.
To cut something into 4 pieces.
To cut something into 5 pieces.
But to cut something in half.
To cut a piece of wood in half, You must measure it.
You must measure it.
Right. This piece of wood is 1 meter 80 long.
You must find the middle.
Right. If a piece of wood is 1 meter 80 long, the middle is 90 centimeters from this end and 90 centimeters from that end.
This end. That end.
So the middle is here.
You must draw a straight line across the middle with a pencil.
Draw a line.
Draw a straight line.
Draw a straight line with a pencil.
Then you must cut along the line.
Yes, you must cut along the line with a saw.
Now, some cupboards have shelves in them,
Shelves.
and some cupboards have drawers in them.
Drawers.
Shelf. Shelves.
Drawer. Drawers.
You can store things on shelves.
You can store things in drawers.
On shelves.
In drawers.
Cupboards have shelves for storage.
And cupboards have drawers for storage.
And Mr. Lovejoy's cupboard has plenty of storage space. So it's probably going to have shelves and drawers.
There. I've cut this piece of wood in half, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, good. Well done. This piece is going to be the top of the cupboard. And this piece is going to be the bottom.
What's this?
What's what?
This long piece here.
Oh, I'm going to make 5 shelves out of that.
Is your cupboard going to have shelves in it?
It certainly is. Well, look at the plans. The shelves are going to be here. Do you like the design?
Yes. Well, it looks like a cupboard with 5 shelves in it to me.
Exactly. It's a traditional cupboard with 5 shelves for storage. Do you want another job?
Yes, okay.
Good lad. You can cut this long piece into 5 shelves.
How long do you want the shelves?
71 centimetres each. But first, make sure the edges of the wood are straight. This edge is straight, but this one isn't. Look, it's crooked.
Oh, yes.
So, draw a straight line along the crooked edge about 2 centimetres in from the edge and cut along the line.
If I cut off 2 centimetres, will the shelves be wide enough?
Oh, yes.
So, Mr. Lovejoy's cupboard is going to have shelves in it. He's got a long piece of wood, and he's going to make shelves out of it.
People make books out of paper.
Out of paper.
People make shoes out of leather.
Out of leather.
People make cheese out of butter.
Out of butter.
And people make shelves out of wood.
Out of wood.
And Coco is cutting a long piece of wood into 5 shelves. How long does Mr. Lovejoy want the shelves?
How long?
Does he want?
The shelves.
How long does he want the shelves?
71 centimetres each.
Yes, each shelf is going to be 71 centimetres long. Now, a long, narrow piece of wood is a plank.
A plank.
A square or oblong piece of wood is a sheet of wood.
A sheet of wood.
Here, this is a sheet of plywood.
Plywood.
Plywood is made of thin sheets of wood stuck together with glue.
Yes, and this is a sheet of plywood. Can you cut it into 4 squares, please?
What size do you want the squares?
40 centimetres by 40 centimetres.
Okay.
Now, a square piece of wood has 4 corners.
An oblong piece of wood has 4 corners.
But a round piece of wood hasn't got corners because it's round. When you cut the plywood into 4 squares, you must make sure the corners are square.
Make sure they are 90 degrees. Make sure they are square.
Okay.
Now, the piece of wood The plank Coco is cutting for Mr. Lovejoy is crooked.
It's crooked. It isn't straight.
Remember, a cupboard has a front, a back, two sides, a top and a bottom. And a shelf has two ends, two surfaces.
A top surface and a bottom surface.
You put things on the top surface.
And a shelf has two edges.
A front edge and a back edge.
Two ends, two surfaces, two edges.
And Mr. Lovejoy's piece of wood is crooked.
The ends are okay.
The surfaces are okay.
But one edge is crooked. So Coco is going to draw a straight line along the crooked edge and then cut along the straight line with a saw.
Straight, crooked.
Straight.
Crooked.
Yes? Coco is going to draw a straight line along the crooked edge and then cut along the line. But the job doesn't take long. Here he is.
Right, Mr. Lovejoy. Your shelves are ready.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, excellent, Coco.
What are these boxes, Mr. Lovejoy?
They aren't boxes, Coco. They're drawers.
You're going to have drawers in your cupboard too?
Oh, yes. This cupboard is going to have shelves, drawers, plenty of storage space. In fact, this cupboard is going to have everything.
Mmm.
Do you want another job?
Yes, okay.
Good lad. Can you cut this sheet of plywood into 4 squares?
Okay.
The squares are going to be the bottoms of the drawers.
What size do you want the squares?
40 centimetres by 40 centimetres.
Okay.
And make sure the corners are square.
Right, Mr. Lovejoy.
Drawers, shelves. It's going to be an excellent cupboard.
And there we leave Mr. Lovejoy making his cupboard with Coco's help. The technical expressions in today's programme were:
A cupboard is used for storage.
I designed it myself.
Do you like the shape? Do you like the size? This is the front,
Front, back, side.
top and bottom.
Square, round, oblong.
A sheet of plywood.
A piece of wood.
I'm going to make shelves out of it.
Can you cut it in half?
Can you cut it into 4 squares?
How long do you want the shelves?
71 centimetres each.
What size do you want the squares?
40 centimetres by 40 centimetres.
Make sure the corners are square.
Make sure the edges are straight.
This edge is crooked.
Draw a straight line along the crooked edge and cut along the line.
Join us next time for more everyday technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work, oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
There. The cupboard's finished.
It's really great, Mr. Lovejoy.
It's got 5 shelves, 4 drawers, plenty of storage space. It's got everything.
Yes, it's a very good cupboard. But, Mr. Lovejoy,
What?
it hasn't got a door.
All My Own Work, a course in everyday technical English. Mr. Lovejoy bought an old house which needed restoring.
To restore,
To do up,
to make good again,
and he's done it up himself.
with the help of his young friend Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have done up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work, oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
In today's programme, the last in the series, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are talking about what they're going to do next.
They finished fixing the house.
They've finished doing it up.
Yes, they've restored the whole house.
From the attic to the cellar.
From top to bottom.
So what are they going to do next?
Well, we've finished, Mr. Lovejoy.
Yes, Coco, we've restored the whole house from top to bottom.
That's right. We rewired the electrical system.
We put a new floor in the kitchen.
We replastered the ceiling in the sitting room.
We sanded the floors downstairs.
Yes, they look great, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And we redecorated throughout.
Walls and woodwork.
We've got a new front door.
And a new front doorbell.
We put up new shelves.
We even unblocked the drains.
Yuck.
And don't forget the new plumbing system we put in.
And a new bath. This house was a ruin.
It wasn't a ruin. It needed restoring, that's all.
Well, it's looking terrific now.
It is, isn't it?
What are we going to do next, Mr. Lovejoy?
We're going to sell it.
Sell it?
Yes. We're going to sell this house and buy a bigger one.
What? But we've only just finished doing this one up.
So Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are going to sell the house. And they're going to buy a bigger one.
To sell a house.
To buy a house.
They've restored the whole house and now they're going to sell it.
They rewired the electrical system.
They replastered the ceiling in the sitting room.
They redecorated throughout.
To rewire.
To replaster.
To redecorate.
To wire a house means to put in an electrical system.
To wire a house means to put in the electrical wiring.
To wire. To rewire means to wire again.
To rewire means to put in new wiring.
Yes, the wiring is new because they rewired the house.
To plaster a ceiling means to put plaster on the ceiling.
To plaster a wall means to put plaster on the wall.
Remember, plaster is powder which you mix with water.
To replaster means to plaster again.
To replaster means to put new plaster on the ceiling or the wall.
To decorate a house means to prepare the house for painting and then to paint it.
To decorate means to fill the holes in the walls.
It means to wash down the walls.
It means to sandpaper the woodwork.
And to decorate means to paint the walls and the woodwork.
To redecorate means to decorate again.
You decorate a house.
5 years later, you redecorate the house.
To redecorate means to decorate again.
To wire, to rewire.
To plaster, to replaster.
To decorate, to redecorate.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy rewired the house. They replastered the sitting room ceiling and they redecorated throughout.
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 Throughout means throughout the whole house. Coco and Mr. Lovejoy redecorated the whole house.
They redecorated throughout.
And they put in a new bath.
The bath is new.
The old bath was cracked.
There was a crack in the old bath.
The old bath was leaking.
So they replaced it.
To replace.
To put in a new one.
And the bath taps are new.
The bath taps were dripping.
They were dripping like this. The bath taps were dripping.
And the taps were stiff.
Yes, they were difficult to turn on. And they were difficult to turn off.
So Mr. Lovejoy replaced the bath taps.
To replace.
To put in new ones.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy unblocked the drains.
The drains were blocked.
The water wouldn't run away.
So they unblocked the drains.
To block. To unblock.
To lock. To unlock.
To plug in. To unplug.
The drains are blocked.
Unblock them.
Okay.
The door is locked.
Unlock it.
Okay.
drill is plugged in.
Unplug it.
Okay. You can unblock a drain with a piece of wire. You can unlock a door with a key. You can unplug a drill by pulling the plug out of the socket.
Block, unblock.
Lock, unlock.
Plug in, unplug.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have worked hard. And now they're going to sell the house. So they're writing an advertisement. An advertisement for a newspaper.
Right, Coco. What shall we put in the advertisement?
Well, the house is attractive.
Yes. Attractive house.
And it's fully restored.
Attractive house, fully restored.
What about the rooms?
Oh, yes. Attractive house with 2 bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen, sitting room, dining room, and attic.
Don't forget the cellar.
Oh, yes, the cellar. Dining room, attic, and cellar, fully restored.
And rewired.
Oh, yes. And rewired.
And it's redecorated throughout.
Yes.
And don't forget the sanded floors.
Yes. So, attractive house with 2 bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen, sitting room, dining room, attic, and cellar. Fully restored, rewired, and redecorated throughout with sanded floors downstairs. How's that?
That's a good advertisement, Mr. Lovejoy.
So they are writing an advertisement.
An advertisement.
Advertisement.
They're writing an advertisement. They want to sell the house, so they must advertise it.
They must advertise the house.
They must tell everybody about the house.
They must tell everybody that they want to sell it.
Yes, they must advertise.
To advertise.
Advertise.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy must advertise. So they are writing an advertisement.
Advertise is the verb.
Advertisement is the noun.
Advertise.
Advertisement.
And in the advertisement, they say that the house is fully restored.
Not half restored,
Not 3/4 restored.
but fully restored.
Now, a house has several systems in it.
It has an electrical system,
It has a plumbing system.
And a house also has a drainage system.
an electrical system,
A plumbing system.
a drainage system. The electrical system is the system of wires, switches, lights and sockets in the house.
Plumbing system is the system of pipes and taps in the house.
The drainage system is the system of drains inside the house and outside the house.
The drains carry the waste and the water away from the house. And all these systems in Mr. Lovejoy's house have been fully restored.
Not half restored,
Not 3/4 restored.
but fully restored.
Yes, all these systems have been renewed.
Renew means to make new again.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy renewed the electrical system.
They renewed the plumbing system.
They didn't renew the drainage system because it was okay, but they did unblock it.
Renew means to make new again.
Yes, they renewed many things in the house, and they replaced other things.
Renew means to make new again.
Replace means to change completely.
They replaced the front door.
They didn't renew it, they changed it completely.
They replaced the old door with a new one.
They replaced the kitchen floor.
They changed it.
They took out the concrete floor and put in a wooden floor.
They replaced the old concrete floor with a new wooden one.
They replaced the bath.
They changed it.
They took out the old bath and put in a new one.
They replaced the old bath with a new one.
Renew means to make new again.
Replace means to change completely.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy renewed some things and replaced other things. And finally, they sanded the floors downstairs.
Upstairs, downstairs.
They hired a floor sander and sanded the floors downstairs.
A floor sander is a machine which sandpapers the floor.
A floor sander is a machine which sands the floor.
To sandpaper,
To sand.
this is a piece of wood. And I'm sandpapering it.
Yes, John's sandpapering a piece of wood. He's sanding it.
To sandpaper,
To sand.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy sanded the floors downstairs.
yes, they restored the whole house.
They restored it themselves.
It was all their own work.
And now they're selling the house. A buyer is looking round. The buyer read the advertisement and has come to see the house.
So, now you've seen everything, from the attic to the cellar.
Well, I like the house very much.
Good. It's been redecorated throughout, you know.
Walls and woodwork.
Yes. I like these sanded floors.
We sanded them ourselves.
Really? What about the plumbing system?
Oh, it's been completely renewed.
The electrical system's new too, isn't it?
Oh, yes. The whole house has been rewired from top to bottom.
Everything is new.
Yes, and everything works.
We know because we did the work.
You did?
Yes, me and Mr. Lovejoy. It's all our own work.
Well, I'll take it.
Good. You've got a very good buy.
And there we leave Coco and Mr. Lovejoy with a satisfied buyer. The technical expressions in today's programme were:
They've restored the whole house.
The house is fully restored.
They rewired the house.
They replastered the ceiling.
They redecorated throughout.
They renewed the electrical system.
They renewed the plumbing system.
The electrical system.
The plumbing system.
The drainage system.
They replaced the front door.
They replaced the bath.
They're writing an advertisement.
They must advertise the house.
They want to sell the house.
They're going to buy a bigger one.
yes, that was all my own work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
Where are we going, Mr. Lovejoy?
Oh, I want to show you something. Ah, here we are, Coco. This is it.
What is it, Mr. Lovejoy?
It's the new house.
But, Mr. Lovejoy, it's a ruin.
A ruin? It isn't a ruin. It needs restoring, that's all. And it'll be all my own work.
Goodbye.
And that was the final episode of All My Own Work. If you'd like a free copy of the notes for this series, then write to All My Own Work, BBC English, Bush House, London. Next week we begin our series Sugar and Spice, which focuses on women. Women at home, women at work, and women in the news. And we examine some of the challenging issues facing women in Britain today. That's Sugar and Spice, our series starting at this time next week. Tomorrow we catch up on the latest events at Radio Channel.
everyday technical English. Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore.
To do up.
To make good again.
And he's doing it up himself.
With the help of his young friend, Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, yes it will.
Today, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have a problem.
The sink is blocked.
The sink.
In the kitchen, you have a sink. It has 2 taps.
A hot tap.
A cold tap.
And it has an outlet.
Outlet.
An outlet.
The water runs into the sink from the taps, like this.
Yes, the water runs into the sink from the taps.
To run in.
And the water runs away through the outlet.
The water runs away through the outlet.
To run away.
To run in.
To run away.
Now, if you don't want the water to run away, if you want to wash a plate or a cup, then you can put the plug in the outlet.
Plug.
Put the plug in.
You can put the plug in.
Then the water won't run away. Now, when you've finished washing the plate or the cup, you can pull the plug out.
Pull.
Pull the plug out.
Put the plug in.
Pull the plug out.
Yes, and when you pull the plug out, the water can run away through the outlet.
But sometimes the water doesn't run away.
When you pull the plug out, the water doesn't run away.
Because the sink is blocked.
In fact, the sink isn't blocked, but the pipes under the sink are blocked.
Blocked.
The pipes are blocked.
And today, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have a problem because their sink is blocked.
Hey, Coco, I can't find my gloves. Have you seen them?
No, I haven't. Have you seen this? Ugh, the sink's blocked.
Blocked? What do you mean?
The water isn't running away.
Have you pulled the plug out?
Yes.
Let's have a look. Have you cleared the outlet?
Which outlet?
The place where the water runs out of the sink.
Yes.
Then the trap under the sink must be blocked.
Where is it?
Directly under the sink. Yeah, see. Here it is. This plastic bit. Unscrew it and clean it out.
Ugh. Can't you do it, Mr. Lovejoy?
Oh, I've got to look for my gloves. Put a bucket under the trap to catch the waste when you take the trap off.
Yuck.
So, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have got 2 problems.
The sink is blocked.
And Mr. Lovejoy has lost his gloves.
But the main problem is the blocked sink. Now, Coco has cleared the outlet.
To clear.
To clear a table.
To take the things off a table.
To clear a room.
To take the things out of a room.
And to clear an outlet.
To take the rubbish out of an outlet.
And Coco has cleared the outlet. So, the trap under the sink must be blocked.
The trap.
A mouse trap is for catching mice.
A mouse trap.
You put some cheese in the trap.
The mouse eats the cheese.
And the trap catches the mouse.
And under a sink, there is a trap.
A rubbish trap.
It catches the rubbish in the water.
It stops the rubbish in the water, blocking the pipe.
The trap is often like an S.
It is often shaped like an S.
It's often S-shaped.
And often the trap is plastic.
Sometimes the trap is metal.
It's made of metal.
But the trap under Mr. Lovejoy's sink isn't metal.
It's plastic.
It's made of plastic.
And you can unscrew it.
To screw, to unscrew.
When you put the trap back on, you have to screw it on.
You have to turn the trap clockwise, like a screw.
And when you take the trap off, you have to unscrew it.
You have to turn it anti-clockwise, like a screw.
To put the trap on,
To take the trap off.
to turn it clockwise,
To turn it anti-clockwise.
to screw it on.
To unscrew it.
To screw, to unscrew.
To lock. To unlock.
To block, to unblock.
If a door is locked, you have to unlock it.
If a pipe is blocked, you have to unblock it.
And Coco has cleared the outlet, so the trap under the sink must be blocked.
It must be blocked.
So Coco has to unscrew the trap and clean it out.
He has to clean it.
He has to clean it out.
The rubbish is in the trap.
He has to take the rubbish out.
He has to clean the trap out.
And Coco must put a bucket under the trap to catch the waste when he takes the trap off.
The waste.
The waste is the water and the rubbish in the sink.
When you take the trap off, the waste runs onto the floor.
So Coco must put a bucket under the trap.
A bucket. This is a bucket.
Yes, Coco must put a bucket under the trap to catch the waste. And when Coco has cleaned out the trap, he must screw it back on.
First, you take the trap off.
And then you put it back on.
First, you unscrew the trap.
And then you screw it back on.
But Coco doesn't want to do this job. He wants Mr. Lovejoy to do it.
Because the waste smells horrible.
It smells.
It smells horrible. Ugh.
Poor Coco. Here he is.
I've cleared the trap, Mr. Lovejoy, and screwed it back on.
Was it blocked?
There was some rubbish in it, but not much. It smelt horrible.
OK, let's test it. Turn the cold tap on and run some water.
The water isn't running away, Mr. Lovejoy.
The outlet isn't blocked and the trap's clear, so the blockage must be in the pipe between the trap and the drainage system outside.
How do we clear that?
We take the trap off and we use a piece of wire to pull the rubbish out of the pipe.
Oh, can't you do it, Mr. Lovejoy?
No, I can't, lad. I still haven't found my gloves, and I must find them.
Oh.
Use a strong piece of wire, Coco.
So, Mr. Lovejoy hasn't found his gloves, but Coco has cleared the trap.
And he screwed the trap back on.
The rubbish in the trap smelled horrible.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy test the trap.
To test.
Is the trap okay now?
Is the trap working now?
They test the trap to find out if it's working.
They turn the tap on.
They run some water, like this. They run some water.
But the water doesn't run away.
The sink is still blocked.
Now, Coco cleared the outlet and he cleaned out the trap.
So the blockage
Must be
in the pipe
between the trap and the drainage system outside.
The blockage.
Block is the verb.
blockage is the noun.
Block-age.
Yes, the blockage must be in the pipe between the trap and the drainage system.
The drainage system.
Drainage.
The drainage system.
The house has drains.
Drains.
The waste runs away down the drains.
Drains are the pipes which carry the waste away. and all the drains together are the drainage system.
Drains, drainage, drainage system.
And the blockage must be in the pipe between the trap and the drainage system outside.
So, Coco can clear the blockage with a piece of wire.
A strong piece of wire.
How do you clear a pipe?
How do you unblock a pipe?
You use a piece of wire to pull the rubbish out of the pipe.
To push.
To pull.
Push is the opposite of pull.
This door won't open.
It's stuck.
It's jammed.
So let's open it.
1, 2, 3, push. The door was jammed.
But we pushed it and it opened.
Push is the opposite of pull.
Push the door away from you.
Pull the door towards you.
Push is the opposite of pull. And Coco has got to pull the rubbish out of the pipe with a piece of wire. He's got to use a piece of wire to pull the rubbish out of the pipe. Poor Coco.
I've cleaned the pipe between the sink and the drains outside, Mr. Lovejoy.
Was it blocked?
There was some rubbish in it, but not much. It smelt terrible.
OK, let's test it. Run the tap, Coco. Is the water running away?
No.
Well, the outlet isn't blocked,
No.
and the trap isn't blocked,
No.
and the pipe between the sink and the drainage system outside isn't blocked.
No.
So, the blockage must be in the drains outside.
How do we clear a blockage in the drains?
There's an inspection cover outside the back door. We have to look there.
Yuck!
So, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy must look under the inspection cover outside the back door. But now, we must leave them. The technical expressions in today's program were:
The sink is blocked.
The water isn't running away.
Put the plug in.
Pull the plug out.
Clear the outlet.
Clean it out.
Unscrew the trap.
Screw the trap back on.
Screw, unscrew.
Block, unblock.
The blockage must be in the pipe.
Use a piece of wire to pull the rubbish out.
Push, pull.
The blockage must be in the drains.
The drainage system must be blocked.
Join us next time for more everyday technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
Ah, there you are. There's the blockage.
What is it?
I don't know.
It smells terrible. It's a pair of gloves.
Oh, no wonder I couldn't find them.
Mr. Lovejoy has bought an old house which needs restoring.
To restore.
To do up.
To make good again.
And he's doing it up himself.
With the help of his young friend, Coco.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are doing up the house themselves.
It'll be all their own work. Oh yes, it'll be all their own work. Yes, it will.
Today, Mr. Lovejoy is going to fit a front doorbell.
Front door.
Back door.
Front.
Back.
The house has a front door and it has a back door. Mr. Lovejoy is going to fit a doorbell on the front door. This is a doorbell. When visitors come to the house, they ring the doorbell.
Oh, hello, Barry.
Hello, John.
Come in.
Thank you. But Mr. Lovejoy hasn't got a doorbell, so he's going to fit one. To fit means to put in position.
I'm going to fit a radio in my car.
To fit a radio means to put a radio in position.
I'm going to fit a bell on my bicycle.
To fit a bell means to put a bell in position.
And Mr. Lovejoy is going to fit a doorbell on his front door.
To fit a doorbell means to put a doorbell in position.
Here he is.
Right, Coco. We're going to fit a doorbell on the front door.
But we've got a knocker. We don't need a bell as well.
But we don't hear the knocker. That's why we never have any visitors.
Visitors? Do you want visitors?
Of course I want visitors. Everybody likes visitors. It's normal.
Oh.
So Coco and Mr. Lovejoy have already got a knocker on their front door. This is a knocker.
They've got a knocker.
Do they need a bell and a knocker?
Do they need a bell as well?
Yes, they've got a knocker.
Do they need a bell as well?
As well as a knocker.
As well means also.
As well means too.
Do they also need a bell?
Do they need a bell too?
Do they need a bell as well?
Mr. Lovejoy says they do because they don't hear the knocker. He says they need a bell as well as a knocker. But has Mr. Lovejoy got the parts? He's going to fit a bell. Has he got the parts?
If you're going to decorate a room, you need the right materials.
The materials.
You need soap to wash down the walls.
You need filler to fill the holes.
You need paint to put on the walls.
Soap.
Filler.
Paint.
The materials.
Yes, if you're going to decorate a room, you need the materials. If you're going to fit a piece of equipment, like a doorbell, you need the right parts.
The right parts.
The parts.
What parts do you need if you're going to fit a doorbell?
You need a bell.
You need a bell push.
You need a transformer.
And you need some flex.
A bell.
A bell push
A transformer.
and some flex.
The bell is the part that rings.
Yes, the bell is the part that rings.
The bell push is the part you push. It's usually a plastic button.
You fit the bell push on the front door or next to the front door.
And visitors press it or push it.
Yes, you need a bell push. You also need a transformer.
A transformer.
A transformer.
A doorbell doesn't need much electricity.
The voltage from the mains is too high.
The transformer reduces the voltage. And, of course, you need some flex.
Flex is thin, plastic-covered wire.
Yes, you need some flex. And those are the parts you need if you're going to fit a doorbell.
Right, Coco. Let's fit the doorbell.
Have you got the parts?
Oh, yes. I've got the bell. I've got the bell push. And I've got the transformer.
What about the flex?
And I've got plenty of flex. Here. Now we can mount the bell push on the wall next to the front door. About here.
Right.
So, we need to connect the flex to the terminals in the bell push. And we need to drill some holes in the wall for the screws, so we can screw the bell push to the wall.
OK. I'll drill the holes in the wall.
And I'll connect the flex to the bell push.
Shall I drill a hole in the door frame so we can run the flex from inside to outside?
Yes, drill the hole in the bottom corner. Then we can run the flex up the side of the door frame.
OK, Mr. Lovejoy.
Oh, yes. It'll be nice to have some visitors.
So Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are going to mount the bell push on the wall next to the front door.
To mount means to fit. It means to put in position.
To mount.
I'm going to fit a mirror in my bathroom. I'm going to mount it above the basin.
I'm going to fit an electric clock in my kitchen. I'm going to mount it next to the window.
And Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are fitting a doorbell. They're going to mount the bell push on the wall next to the front door.
So, how is this done?
Well, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy need to connect the flex to terminals in the bell push.
Terminals.
Electrical terminals.
In the bell push, there are 2 electrical terminals.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy must connect the flex to these terminals. And they must drill some holes in the wall.
To drill a hole. To drill a hole in the wall.
Yes, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy must drill some holes in the wall for the screws.
To screw the bell push to the wall.
Now, screw is a noun and a verb.
Drill a hole for the screw.
Here, screw is a noun.
Screw the bell push to the wall.
Here, screw is a verb.
Coco and Mr. Lovejoy are going to screw the bell push to the wall. So they must drill some holes in the wall for the screws. Coco is also going to drill a hole in the door frame.
The door has a frame round it.
It has a wooden frame round it.
Coco is going to drill a hole in the door frame so he can run a flex from inside to outside.
From inside the house to outside the house.
He's going to drill the hole in the bottom corner.
A door frame has 4 corners.
2 corners at the top.
2 corners at the bottom.
And if Coco drills a hole in the bottom corner of the door frame, he can run the flex from inside to outside. Then he can run the flex up the side of the door frame.
From the bottom corner to the bell push.
That sounds like a good plan.
Right, the flex is connected to the bell push.
And the bell push is in position.
Now, where shall we put the bell?
In the kitchen?
Yes, that's the best place for it. So, we need to run the flex along the bottom of this wall into the kitchen.
Have you got any cable clips?
Yes, there's a box of clips in my tool bag.
Ah, here they are. How wide apart do you want the clips?
Put one about every 15 centimetres.
One every 15 centimetres.
You know, Coco, it's going to be very, very nice to have some visitors.
Yes.
So they're going to put the bell in the kitchen.
They're going to fit the bell in the kitchen.
They're going to mount the bell in the kitchen.
So they have to run the flex from the front door to the kitchen.
They're going to run the flex along the bottom of the wall in the hall.
And to fix the flex, to secure the flex, Coco needs some cable clips.
Clips.
Cable clips.
They're called cable clips, even when you use them with thin wires, with flex. And Mr. Lovejoy has a box of cable clips in his tool bag. He wants Coco to put 1 clip every 15 centimetres.
1 every 15 centimetres.
Not 1 every 10 centimetres.
Not 1 every 20 centimetres.
But 1 every 15 centimetres.
If Coco puts 1 every 10 centimetres...
The clips will be too close together.
If he puts 1 every 20 centimetres...
The clips will be too wide apart.
Close together.
Wide apart.
Yes, Mr. Lovejoy wants Coco to put 1 clip every 15 centimetres. They also need to drill some holes in the wall in the kitchen, so they can screw the bell and the transformer to the wall. And the holes must be in the right places.
Not too close together.
Not too wide apart.
You hold the bell in position and you mark the places where the screws go with a pencil.
Like this. Here's a bell. Now the screws go through these holes, here and here.
So, hold the bell in position and mark the places where the screws go with a pencil.
To mark a place.
To mark a place with a pencil.
And here's a transformer. The screws go through these holes, here and here.
Again, hold the transformer in position and mark where the screws go with a pencil.
To mark a place.
To mark a place with a pencil.
And of course, Coco and Mr. Lovejoy must connect the transformer to the mains.
The central electricity supply.
The main electricity supply.
The mains.
They must connect the transformer to the mains.
Connect.
Connect this to that.
Connect the transformer to the mains.
And they must connect the bell to the transformer.
Connect.
Connect this to that.
Connect the bell to the transformer.
Finally, they must connect the flex from the bell push to the bell.
Connect.
Connect this to that.
Connect the flex to the bell.
So, how are they getting on?
Okay, now. The flex runs from the front door into the kitchen. Have you put in all the cable clips, Coco?
Yep. 1 every 15 centimetres.
Right. Now we need to mount the bell.
How about here?
Yeah, that's a good place. We can put the transformer next to it. We need to drill some holes in the wall so we can screw the bell and the transformer to the wall.
I'll drill the holes.
You need to hold the bell and the transformer in position and mark the places where the screws go with a pencil.
Right, Mr. Lovejoy.
Then, when they're in position, we need to connect the transformer to the mains and the bell to the transformer.
Right.
And we need to connect the flex from the bell push to the bell.
Well, you can do all that, Mr. Lovejoy. And then we wait for the visitors.
Oh, yes, Coco. This bell is going to change our lives.
And there we leave Coco and Mr. Lovejoy fitting the new doorbell. The technical expressions in today's programme were:
We're going to fit a doorbell.
Have you got the parts?
A bell push, a transformer, some flex.
We can mount the bell push on the wall.
We can run the flex from inside to outside.
Run the flex along the bottom of the wall.
How wide apart do you want the clips?
Put one about every 15 centimetres.
We need to drill some holes in the wall for the screws.
So we can screw the bell to the wall.
Hold the bell in position.
Mark the places where the screws go with a pencil.
Join us next time for more Everyday Technical English. That was All My Own Work.
It was all my own work. Oh yes, it was all my own work. Yes, it was.
Right. The doorbell is now ready. What was that?
It was the doorbell, Mr. Lovejoy. We've got a visitor.
Oh, excellent. Show him in.
It's a her. Not a him.
Really? Oh. Who is it?
I think it's Miss Bucket from next door.
Oh, no.
Goodbye.
All My Own Work was produced by Gerard O'Malley. You're listening to English teaching programmes from the BBC World Service in London.